Welcome to Revenue Mind, where revenue leaders get real about mental health. I'm Jolie. Stick around for honest stories, practical insights, and why well-being is the real bottom line. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome to the Revenue Mind podcast, where revenue leaders talk all things mental health. I'm Jolie, your host, and with us is Anthony. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you for having me so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Like I was talking about before we started recording, I've seen you all over LinkedIn, and it's been really cool seeing your content on all sorts of topics, especially mental health. So that's why I wanted to reach out.
I appreciate it so much. I'm honestly glad you see it.
Yeah. The LinkedIn algorithm these days is, I'm tired of complaining, so I'm just not going to complain.
Same. I actually had a post to complain, but I was like, nah, whatever.
Yeah, like it's gonna do what it's gonna do. I'm just gonna post consistently, and hopefully people see it. If they don't, all good.
No, I
It's
feel
it's
that.
really about the community. So, or at least that's what I tell myself. All right, so on to the questions. So first one, what makes you you if we subtract your title, your biggest win, and your biggest scar? What's left that you're most protective of, and why?
Wow, what a question. I would say what I'm most protective of, I would say my faith, honestly. And I think about this a lot because I see it as like who I am, who I show up as, like that's who you carry everywhere, right? Not just like your professional setting, your relationships, your parenting, if you are. It's the core of who you are. And so like my faith is everything to me. You know, it's like my lifestyle. It's how I make my decisions. It's my filter, you know. And like for that has produced a lot of things as far as like healing for me and my journey and a lot of relationships that have helped build a community around me. And that's why I am so community focused. Honestly, I lean into community a lot because there are some things like in my past personally that I didn't have that I now choose to be for other people. And so I can see where like maybe I've healed from something, maybe I've struggled with something and I've, gotten past that and have learned different ways to combat that. And so like I want to be able to share that because like we all know that people have the same struggles, even though we like to, think like I'm the only one and deal with isolation. But truly like there's always people out there. There's always an audience for it. So
Everyone's fighting a battle you know nothing about.
yeah, yeah, and that's so true. It's like, and it's so like it can become so like cliche when you hear it, but like it's so true. Like if you like strip it of everything, like everyone has something. There's nobody that's out there that's just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I had this friend that I thought was perfect
Hmm.
for like 15 years. Turns out she wasn't. And because of that, because of her struggles that I didn't know about, she kind of spiraled and cut me off. And that was after 15 years knowing her from college. And it really,
Wow.
that's just my guess. But
Yeah.
to that point, you know, people that put on a front, if I put on a front, that's when I crumble.
Mm. That's real. That's yeah. So like I think, and I'm just putting this out there. So like the, I guess the me that people see now today is not the me that would have been a couple years ago, right? Like I've understood for me personally, like in the last couple years, I've broken down the whole attachment to image. And I mean, I've worked in corporate like my whole professional career too. So it kind of played into it as well. The image of looking put together, well spoken, and just like those different tidbits that you either grow up with or culture tells you or corporate tells you that you just have to be this nice little pretty wrapped box, right? So like I said, in the last couple of years, I've really just grown out of that, which is where my voice comes from on LinkedIn. Like that's how I talk. Right. I'm not because I mean what I do, I can put together some pretty well professional emails, but that's not how I genuinely talk and speak to people that I want to connect with. So that image barrier is something that's like it seeps into all areas of your life, right? And it can become so exhausting That's what I found for myself. Like keeping up an image becomes so exhausting because you're always thinking about how you're perceived, not necessarily how you see yourself, but how you're perceived by others and making other people feel good.
So I got married last May, but we're doing like a party thing, like a party
Mm.
with our close friends and family because it was just immediate family that came to the wedding. So we're doing like a celebration. And the caterer was talking to me and I went like, "Oh, this I think part of my family wants this and that and this and that." And she's like, "Jolie, what do you want?"
Yeah.
That's just like that's who I am. And it sounds like that's who you potentially were. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
how
People
did you grow
pleasing.
from that? Yeah, exactly. How did you transform from, like, a people pleaser to kinda being, like, authentically you and not still caring, but not being a
Yeah.
yes person?
Yeah. So I would say some of that goes back to what I said was kind of my core, my faith, and then some of the healing journey I went on the last couple years. And it was there were some low areas that I hit honestly that I had to look at myself, that I had to take responsibility for. And I think that's sometimes the hardest thing is to look at yourself and take responsibility for those, not just moments, but when you get in low areas. And so once I was able to look at myself with like my community and I had like mentors and guys I could reach out to and stuff like that, it was like, well, I'm responsible for taking care of myself. Not any nobody else is responsible for me but me, right? Like so while I feel the responsibility or the weight to make everyone happy, I should feel the weight of making myself happy, you know? And so that was like a very triggering moment. And then you move that into the fact that I have kids. I have two little boys, 5 and 2. And so me and my wife have conversations and she wife always brings insight. She tells me like I remember a moment she had a conversation with me and she said, like, Anthony, like the best way you show up is taking care of yourself because you can't show up for us all the time if you're completely exhausted, if you're completely not in a healthy mental space and you don't have energy for the kids. Like, you know what I mean? It's just and of course there's give and take with that, but like if you don't take care of yourself at all, then the showing up for others is very, very depleted, right? And the thing is, you'll still care, right? You just kind of have to, you kind of have to have a filter to decide, like, I do care about this, but like, where am I in this picture? You know what I mean? And so, like, honestly, with that question and just kind of the healing journey I was on, it made me shift into seeing how valuable I was as a person, how valuable my presence is, and what I can bring to the table, versus just like, oh, I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. I'll do, and it's like, hold on, like, who gonna do something for me? Well, I can do something for me for sure, but like, so it's just it was a shift in seeing, it was a big shift in really saying how I view myself. I think that was the biggest thing, and that's where like my confidence started to build. So,
I love that. I remember when you first started writing on LinkedIn, or at least when I first started seeing your writing, it
mhm,
definitely was more polished. And I
mhm.
think as you've just my observation, I feel like as you've grown into yourself, you've gotten much more real on the platform, and I think people are really responding to that.
Yeah, I think when I first started, I don't know what view I had of LinkedIn when I first started, to be honest, but I feel like I found my voice, if that makes sense. As I continue to post, as I continue to be real with my stories, or even just like little tidbits with my family, and just like the stuff that was on my mind, I broke down some that barrier of being like polished. Now, of course, professional, sure, but personally, like the best way to connect is to be yourself because people connect with people, right? I don't like I don't know. I'm not Nike. I'm not connecting with like a brand, a big corporation, but I'm connecting with people, right? And it's people that run those things. So it was like, and it helped with being consistent. Because at first I was just like, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna stay here. I decided to stay on LinkedIn because usually I would have did my job update and I would have been gone. So that's how I seen LinkedIn at first. I would just be gone. And I was like, no, I'm gonna stay. And I did get inspiration from others that I, seen and followed. And I was like, oh man, this is different. Like this is really developed into something different. And so I kept going and my voice developed and it has helped a lot because now like content is easy right now. One, I enjoy it. Two, is completely me. It's a lot harder when, I'm trying to make it up and be polished and stuff like that. But so yeah, it's definitely been a journey and still is.
Yeah, for sure. I really resonate with that. Something that I just, as you were talking, I was thinking of. I feel like the platform with all the social media and AI and all that
Hmm.
stuff, I feel like we're teaching each other how to be human now,
Yeah, isn't
or
that
at least coming
crazy?
back to, yeah, like coming back to humanity, like, or coming back to our roots. And I think that is being channeled through LinkedIn, at least for, because I'm not really on Meta or um,
No, same. I'm
TikTok
on other
or,
places.
yeah, I can't deal. But, something that you said, what was it? Being the best version of yourself for others.
Hmm.
That's super powerful. And, I definitely had a healing journey myself. I did about 650 hours. So that's about 10 hours a day, 7 days a week for 9 weeks. I think I posted about it on
Hmm.
LinkedIn, and it was basically a partial hospitalization program for an eating disorder.
Okay.
And but it wasn't just eating disorder, because eating disorder is a symptom, right? Addiction's a
Right, right.
symptom.
Yeah. Right.
Um, it was really about facing trauma and learning how to literally rewire my brain so I could handle things better.
No,
Um,
yeah. I
and it was a
understand that.
lot of fucking work. It was a lot.
Yeah.
I was exhausted. I didn't see my husband as basically for 2 months, and but it was
Um,
so, I wouldn't do it again, but I would
yeah,
do it
right.
again.
No, I get
Um,
I totally get those. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like everyone, and not everyone has their own version of that, but everyone has their own version of that. You don't have to go to a clinic for 9 weeks to do that, but I love that you said, you did a lot of work to be there for others, but to also be there for
Mhm.
yourself, because if we're not the best version of ourselves, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was something that was like even within that framework, right? When I first started on that journey, I was in the beginning, I was still choosing it for others. So there was a shift even within that framework because at first I was like, well, I'm short for my kids, I'm short for my wife, which is all great, right? Because you should and you should desire that. But even then, at first I was still choosing it for them and not myself. And so within that framework, there was still a shift of like, hold on, like I want to be good for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to look at myself and be glad with what I see, be proud of who I see in the mirror. Because even from a mirror standpoint, you're the one looking at you, not everybody else, right? You're the one that looks at yourself every day or whatever. So there was that shift. And that kind of went along with the whole like, I am valuable. I do have this presence. I do have all these things to bring to the table because that's me, right? Not because somebody else said it, but because I believe it, I do it, I say it. And so that shifted also, since we also on social a little bit, that shifted my affirmation, validation, because that's a big shift as well. Because at first, like validation came from a lot of different areas, and now I've built myself up and healed to a point where like my validation comes from me. It comes from my faith. It comes from I don't know. Sometimes my boys running up to me, dad, things like that that are just like this is what I live for. This is why I am me. You know what I mean? Not like the false stuff, but it was a healing journey to move away from that because it's very easy in this world and in this culture now to look for affirmation and validation from everything else. You know what I mean? We're on social, the numbers, the whatever it is. So that has connected to my presence on LinkedIn because like, yeah, I might, throw something out, complain about the algorithm, but at the end of the day, I'm going to do the same message because that's me, right? My message isn't going to change because like I need to get a certain amount of followers or I need to get it's just going to be me at the end of the day.
I love that, and I feel like I like what you said about tying it back to your faith. When I was in that program, I talked about we did a lot of value exercises, and I kind of narrowed down my 5 top values. But what do you think yours are?
Um, Man, if right off the top of my head, my top value I would have to say is community. I'm a big faith and community guy because I feel like so there's a part of me where I am right now that's like I feel like through my faith I have been redeemed and restored, and so I also know like I'm not redeemed and restored just to be good, right? I'm also here to like to share that because other people can be redeemed and restored through their struggles and things like that. So I'm a big like generosity guy, like give back to community, give back to I volunteer a lot. I volunteer at my church, I volunteer through fellowship of Christian athletes. That's just like that's my heart, you know, and I feel like that's what I'm led to do and my purpose. My next value would be my family. Big family guy, love it. Love my boys. That's tough as it can be sometimes. It can be tough. It can be hard, but man, like at the root of it, it's they are so worth it. My wife, who was on the healing journey with me, supported me through it. So that's always like I come back to that core, my community, my family, my faith. And I'm just like, I guess last thing is just like, I guess connects to generosity, but I'm a big giver, right? I like to give things of value. I don't know if you can tell, but I am also a person that's like, I like more depth than sometimes I can put off, but like, I like talking about real stuff. And that helps. That helps with trauma. That helps heal stuff when you can talk about real stuff. So I feel like that's kind of all my values wrapped up.
I love that. Yeah, I hate small talk. Hate, hate,
Yeah, I used to
hate.
be terrible at it.
Like, yeah, no, for sure. I'm working at a company for the past I think you saw that post. Like, I'm working at a company for the past couple of years, and now I'm at the point where I need to do small talk, and I've been
Yeah.
because I'm networking and pitching and all that stuff, and I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, I'm Jolie, and I have, like, a mental illness and 2 addictions, like, what's
Yeah.
up? Buy my shit."
Right.
You know? Not gonna do that. So but having conversations like these for 2 years, like, that's a really hard pivot for me,
Mhm.
'cause I'm going from, like, the real shit, like you're saying, to,
Yeah.
like, kinda surface level, but I'll get there with it eventually.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I love what you said about community. If you could build your dream community, what would it be?
Mm, that is wow. That's a tough question because my first thought is what we kind of just talked hit on the depth, being able to have those tough questions, tough conversations. I've become a person that's like, I want people to be able to call me out. So accountability, I feel like that's more, now I've had to learn that, of course. I feel like that's more, actually more loving than anything. Obviously, not in a rude way. Like, don't be disrespectful now, but um, but then there's like the creative and like I don't want to say artsy, but like, and I guess that's the marketing side of me. So it's like a mixture, right? Like the thing about a community is like, I don't think there's one community that will fulfill everything, right? And so that's why we find ourselves in these either in different groups, different communities, these different areas that kind of fulfill different parts of us, right? Because even from a personal standpoint, like I love what I do as far as my work with digital marketing, but that's like that fulfills professional. That doesn't fulfill me, I guess, as a person. And so the volunteering fulfills me as a person. It fulfills me as like my purpose. And so I think like it would just be such a combination. I feel like I don't know. I couldn't even know if I could just put like a dream community together, but there'd be like such a diverse perspectives, diverse in nationalities, diverse in skills. Because one thing I do is like the things that I can't do, I actually tend to admire more. So I can connect with people that do the same thing with me, which is cool. That's great. But like those people that are doing things that I have no idea, like I'm like, wow. Like I need you in my community. You know what I mean? So I can learn and grow and so there has to be that sense of stretching as well. That's like broadening, making your world bigger.
If your nervous system had a dashboard, like your pipeline, like green, yellow, red
Mhm,
being, ah, green being,
mhm.
everything's chill. What are your 3 leading indicators that you're heading toward anxiety/burnout before performance drops?
Mm. So so interesting enough, I will lose my habit of the things I do daily. So like I work out pretty much every day, some form of fitness, some form of I would say mental awareness, whether that's journaling or listening to a podcast or just reading Bible, some things like that. And so like usually before I really burn out and crash, I'm losing the discipline of those. Those kind of start to dwindle, whether that's like, oh, now I feel like I don't have enough time, or I feel like um I just don't really want to do that. I'm not showing up for it. When those things start to dwindle, I know like, oh, check-ins are like, why are you starting to feel like this? Why is your mind like, why are you feeling like you can just bypass things that actually help you? Because now I'm probably pushing too hard into something else that's like, I've put it as a higher priority than it should be. And I think that's pretty big for me because that does trigger in my brain like, oh, okay, like why am I those things are important to me. So like why am I not doing it? Keeping those priorities kind of has helped me and continues to help me to not burn out. Because I mean, if you would imagine, like, I mean, I'm full time with my work, and I work at a global company. So like sometimes I have to do stuff in the evening. Sometimes I have to do stuff in the morning. Work different time zones. Blah blah blah. But then I'm married. I've been married 10 years. Then I have 2 boys, right? And then I volunteer, right? And somehow I still show up on LinkedIn all the time, right? Um, and I still have to work out all the time, and I still have to read my Bible all the time, and blah blah blah. It's like all that, right? All that together is my life, right? But the things that keep me centered in there is my physical activity, reading my Bible, making sure I am in community so I don't get isolated. So isolation is another thing. If I feel like I always don't want to be with people or talk with people, it's a red flag from in my life. It's a red flag because it's like, okay, now what? Like, what are you holding on to that you can't share, or what's feeling so heavy that you can't release, right? And I think that's the thing is like that heaviness, it just kind of sinks on you, and like those habits break down. And if you continue to let them, then next thing you know, you're kind of just exhausted and in this place that like you don't necessarily want to be.
I feel like as high achievers, we stretch ourselves so thin,
Mm,
so thin. And at a certain point, at least for me, like I have a threshold
yeah,
and then I implode.
yeah,
I've
no,
I've
yeah,
maxed out probably 3 times in my life, not too often, but to your point, it's like when you stop doing the things that you love, that's a sign that
yeah,
that's a sign for me that I'm not good. Like, I didn't see my mom got pretty sick last year, and I didn't see my friends for, like, 3 months. I just, like, completely shut down, and I'm
mhm.
like, "Maybe I should talk to them about it."
Yeah, oh,
I just kinda hold up and just completely folded into myself, but to your point, like, even if we're stretched really thin, still holding on to our values, like you were saying, like the Bible and journaling and family and community, like holding on to that as your core,
yeah,
even when you don't feel like doing it, is one of the hardest things you can do.
no, yeah, it is true. I guess for me, like it's it keeps you centered. It's like there's always like going to be hard things to do. There are like some realities we just have to understand. Like there's always going to be something that's hard to do. There are always going to be times that it's hard to show up as your best self, or give everything 100%, right? Like everything can't have 100%. That's you're human. Yeah. Right. Like we're not robots. Doing hard things when they're hard and remembering why you do them. Right. Like I love working out. I do. But there are days I don't want to work out. Like there's some days I'm like, I'm good. I feel like I'm okay. But then I'll remember like what does working out do for me mentally? Not just a physical, like what does it do for me mentally? Okay, because my boys are gonna come home. My house is gonna get crazy. Am I gonna have the energy to be prepared for that? You know what I mean? Am I gonna have the clarity to be present for that, versus that just gotta work. And I work from home too, so a lot of things get meshed together. And so like I try to remember that. I try to always remember like the benefits even when you may not see the immediate result, right? That everything compounds. It's literally like my story. Like who I am now is not it wasn't an overnight thing. It wasn't because, I went viral a day ago or anything. It's like, it's like it's been compounding to this person you see or hear now. And then, next couple of years, I've compounded to a stronger person, a more wiser person, or a healthier person. And so, like, I think that I honestly think that is the hardest part. Like, at the end of the day, putting in the work is the hardest part. Especially when it's like, man, that work can get hard. That work can get heavy. And even to like some of your story, like the healing. People don't always talk about this, but healing can get heavy. Growing can get heavy. Like that emotional lift and that like that mental toll to always try to be open and talk to people, to always try to be aware, to always, combat those things that are not truly a part of you anymore. Like that can get tiring, and it's just like remembering. So like that's some of what those habits do for me. Like reading a Bible, journaling, it helps me remember. It helps me remember why I do this, and like say my wife and kids help me remember. You know what I mean? Being proud of myself helps me remember. And then I see results over time, no matter when that is. I just try to always kind of keep a vision of like where I'm trying to go, who I'm trying to be, more importantly. And so yeah, like it's just like that staying grounded when the ground is shaking. You know what I mean? Like all the chaos, but you gotta stay grounded somehow.
One last question before we see where to find you. If we handed your closest teammate or partner a one-page operating manual for Anthony in our heart season, what would be the top 3 instructions? And what's one thing you wish people would stop doing immediately?
Mm. Wow, that is a hard question. Operate it, man. I mean, you gotta know how you operate yourself to to answer that. I would say it's so funny because like I think the number one thing, honestly, and I think about my wife, I think the number one thing she would say is get this man a treat. Like this man needs to eat something good. Like let this he needs, he needs to relax. Okay. Like he needs to sit down. He needs to eat a treat or some good food. And the funny thing is about that is like there's story behind that I'm actually working through. Cause like, oh man, I have such a sugar craving. It's crazy, right? But I also had to learn that like I can't look to sugar as comfort either. Um whew, couldn't be like my source of comfort. I mean, I have it now and then, but like once you become dependent, that's another level, right? And so like that that would be something she would say, but like also jokingly, not super dependent on it anymore. I would say the second thing is she would say, get out. You need to get out of the house. And that's something she'll, hey, like, do you need to get out of the house with a friend or something? Like, do you like just need to because I work from home. My kids like I pick my kids up and things like that. I'm at home, but everything's at home. And so that time, like having a lunch out with a close friend, going out on the weekends with my guy friends and stuff like that, it's just like it's very refreshing for me. It helps like my mental space, almost like to reset. So treats, get out of the house. Another one, and I kind of brought you And I brought this up a little bit earlier as far as like the whole physical activity. She'll ask me like, hey, babe, do you need to go work out? Because she's the closest to me. She knows when like my stress or tension levels are great and, you know, that energy is getting high. And like I said before, like fitness helps me to release a lot of that. Just time to myself. Believe it or not, I am a natural introvert. And so like I actually do recharge a lot just having a quiet space where I can like sit with myself. Because sometimes when I'm not able to sit with myself, it can feel like those emotions can compound. And then all of a sudden I'm at a point where it does feel heavy and that tension has risen up, you know what I mean? And so like I gotta get my things so I can pull these shoulders can be light, not heavy. You know what I mean? Like I think that would be the basis for like me operating in the hard season. Getting out with a friend, which is obviously like community and having hard conversations. And then some feel good stuff. Go work out. Go enjoy, I don't know, a treat, go have a smoothie or something. Just relax, man. You know? But yeah, so all that compounds back to my values though, like community, right? Like the hard conversations. Cause I try to hang out with people that they can ask me questions. You know, they have access to me. Those levels of access, they have those. And just having full enjoyment of where I am, present, being present, whether that's present with a cookie, present. I keep saying that. The people are think I'm like, man, this guy loves desserts and stuff. I mean, I do, but that's whatever.
Oh, I'm in eating recovery, or eating disorder recovery. They say like we shouldn't refer to ourselves as like sugar addicts, but
Mm.
man, do I love sweets.
Or I guess earlier this month, that was a part of my fast. So like I was doing a fast with my faith and everything. Sugar was one of those things that I fasted in 21, 25 days or so. And man, let me tell you though, like when I fasted that, like, and I could tell the difference in my brain and my body, right? Also, when I fast like sugar or something, I drink more water. And so that was just a lot more clarity. That was just a lot more, I don't know, flow of energy, which is like interesting because I don't know obviously I don't know all the connections there, but like I could tell the difference in like just my energy and like my flow of presence. It was just different and like my clarity in my mind. So as much as I love desserts, man, you can't let the cupcakes and the whipped creams and all that slow your mind down.
What do they say? Everything in moderation.
Yeah, well,
Another
that's
corny saying.
that's that's my issue.
So where can we find you in your own words?
Yeah, I am on LinkedIn. Y'all see my name, search me, find me. I got a little golden head profile now. I'll be there. I'm not anywhere else. This is the only social I have right now, and that's pretty intentional for me. So yeah,
Well, thank you so much, Anthony. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure I'll see you around. I'll be commenting on all your stuff.
thank you so much. I definitely have enjoyed it. I appreciate the invitation. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I love this.
That's a wrap for Revenue Mind, where we cut the BS and spotlight mental health and revenue leadership. I'm Jolie, reminding you your mindset is your competitive edge. Thanks for listening. See you next time.